The city of Skyreach Prime floated high above the clouds, shining like a diamond in the sky. It was known as the City of Dreams, where humans and aliens lived together in peace. On this day, the city was buzzing with excitement. Everyone was waiting for the wedding of the year. Alina Veris, the famous xenolinguist, was marrying Dallin Voss, a high-ranking diplomat from Earth's galactic embassy. Alina stood in front of 1,000 guests in the grand hall, dressed in a flowing silver gown. Cameras hovered in the air, recording every moment for broadcast. She smiled nervously, waiting for Dallin to walk down the aisle, but he never did. A whisper ran through the crowd. Then came the sound of footsteps, not Dallin's, but his assistant. He walked to the front and held out a small data card. Alina took it with shaking hands. The message was short. "I'm sorry, Alina. I can't go through with this. I've made other plans. This marriage would hurt my future. Please understand." Dallin, she stared at the screen, not blinking. The crowd fell silent. The music stopped. Her heart, once full of joy, now felt like stone. The camera zoomed in on her face. Across 100 worlds, people watched in real time as her heart broke. Alina dropped the card. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just turned around and walked out of the hall. Outside, flying taxis passed by. Holograms of her and Dallin still shone in the air. The perfect couple, the ad said. She laughed a soft broken sound and kept walking. Hours passed. She wandered through the levels of Skyreach, going lower and lower. The lights became dimmer, the air less fresh. She had no plan. She just wanted to get away. Finally, she reached the cargo sectors, the lowest part of the city where workers loaded and shipped goods to other planets. It was quiet here. No one recognized her. No one pointed a camera. She felt invisible, and it was a strange kind of peace. She sat near a cargo bay door, her dress dirty and torn at the edge. She stared into space, the stars blinking softly above. "Hey, you okay?" The voice was calm. She turned to see a man in a black uniform standing a few feet away. He looked like a security guard. Simple clothes, dark eyes, clean but not fancy. He wasn't young, but he wasn't old either. "I'm fine," she said quickly, wiping her face. "Just tired." He nodded and didn't ask more. Instead, he handed her a bottle of water. "Long day?" he asked. "You could say that," she replied, managing a small smile. They sat in silence for a few minutes. The guard didn't pressure her with questions. He just sat near her, looking at the stars too. "I'm Joran," he said quietly. "Alina," she replied. Joran didn't react. It was clear he didn't know who she was. That made her feel safe. He stood up after a while and pointed to a small rest area nearby. "There's a place you can sleep for a while. It's quiet. No one will bother you." Alina hesitated, but then followed him. The room was simple: a bench, some pillows, and a light blanket. But to her, it felt like heaven. Before Joran left, she said, "Thank you." He nodded. "Everyone needs a place to breathe." That night, Alina lay on the bench, staring at the ceiling. Her mind was still full of questions and pain. But somewhere, in the middle of the sadness, she thought about Joran's quiet voice, his calm eyes, and how he never once asked who she was. And for the first time since the breakup, she fell asleep. When Alina woke up, the small restroom was filled with the soft light of morning. For a moment, she forgot where she was. The air smelled like machine oil and warm tea. Then she remembered the wedding, the message, the walk through the city, and the man named Joran. She sat up slowly and looked around. A hot cup of tea was waiting on the side table, with a note written in clear, neat handwriting. "Didn't want to wake you. You look tired. There's food in the drawer." "Joran?" Alina smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. She took the tea and sipped it slowly. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm and comforting. After days of fake smiles and public pressure, it was the first act of kindness that asked for nothing in return. Later that morning, she stepped outside. Joran was there, sitting on a metal crate, watching cargo ships rise and fall like giant whales in the sky. He looked up and gave her a quiet nod. "Sleep well?" he asked. "I did." "Thank you," Alina replied. He said nothing more, and that was fine with her. They sat together again, just watching the ships. The air was peaceful down here. No reporters, no crowds. Just workers, machines, and spaced out. After a while, Joran spoke. "You don't belong here." Alina looked at him, surprised. "What do?" "You mean?" He shrugged. "The way you talk, the way you sit. You're used to fancy halls and soft chairs." She smiled. "And you?" "You seem used to quiet places and people who don't talk much." Joran gave a small laugh. "Maybe." She looked at him closely for the first time. He wasn't just a guard. His eyes were sharp, the kind that noticed everything. His hands were strong, but his movements were calm. He looked like someone who had seen too much, yet still chose to be kind. Alina stayed in the cargo sector for 2 more days. She didn't return any calls. She turned off her ID tag. She helped a few local kids with reading lessons, and even cleaned parts of the sector with other workers. No one treated her like a news story. They just treated her like a person. On the 3rd evening, as the sun set behind the dome of Skyreach, Alina sat next to Joran again. They had become quiet friends. No questions, no past, no pressure. But that night, something inside her broke. "I was supposed to be married 2 days ago," she said softly. "He left me in front of everyone. I became a joke across the galaxy." Joran didn't speak, but he didn't look away. "I ran away. I didn't know where to go. I just ended up here." She paused. "You're the only person who hasn't judged me." "I'm not here to judge," Joran said simply. She looked at him, eyes full of emotion. "I know this is crazy. But what? If we got married?" He blinked, unsure if he heard right. Alina laughed nervously. "Not like love or anything. I mean legally. A marriage would stop the press from bothering me. They'd lose interest. You'd go back to your life. I'd go back to mine." Quietly, Joran didn't answer right away. He looked at the stars for a long time. "Sometimes," he said, "the strangest paths lead to the right places." Alina tilted her head. "Is that a yes?" He gave her a small, calm smile. "If you're sure, then yes." She laughed again, this time without sadness. "Okay then, let's do it. Tomorrow." And just like that, a broken woman and a quiet stranger made a decision that would change their lives and the future of humanity forever. The next morning, Alina and Joran walked together to a small registration center in the lower sector. The building was old, made of gray metal and humming machines, far from the sparkling halls of Upper Skyreach. No cameras, no reporters, just a sleepy clerk with a datapad. "Reason for marriage?" the clerk asked, barely looking up. "Personal," Alina replied. The clerk nodded and tapped the screen. "Names?" Alina Veras. Joran Kale. A small pause. "Do you both agree to this contract for a minimum of 1 year?" They looked at each other. Alina gave a small nod. Joran simply said, "Yes." "Done," the clerk said, stamping the digital form. "You're legally married." Just like that. No rings, no flowers, no guests. Just 2 strangers signing a paper that now tied their lives together. They walked out into the soft light of the lower city. Alina breathed deeply, as if something heavy had been lifted from her chest. Joran walked beside her, calm as always. So she said, breaking the silence, "Now I'm Mrs. Kale." He smiled. "Technically." They returned to the cargo sector. Alina spent the day helping out at the local learning corner where children came to play and study. Joran returned to his shift at the cargo gates, quietly watching the docks and logging the ships. That evening, Alina made them a simple dinner, just heat packs and noodles, but it felt like something special. They ate on a bench near the docks, watching the orange sky fade into stars. "It's funny," she said. "I've eaten at 5-star restaurants across the galaxy, but this tastes better than all of them." Joran nodded. "Maybe it's the peace." She looked at him thoughtfully. "You're not like most people down here." "I could say the same about you," he replied. That night, Alina slept again in the small restroom. Joran stayed outside, as always. There was no romance, no expectations, just two people sharing space, helping each other breathe again. Days passed. Alina began to find a rhythm in this quiet life. She fixed old learning machines at the community center. She translated alien manuals for a local engineer. Her mind felt sharp again, focused and calm. Every evening, she and Joran sat together. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just watched the stars. She began to ask about him, but gently. "Where did you learn to speak 3 alien languages?" She asked one evening. "Old jobs," he said. "You worked off-world?" He nodded. For a while, she smiled. "You're full of surprises." He didn't answer, just looked into the sky like he was remembering something distant. Then one day, a message arrived. It was hidden in an old language, one Alina hadn't seen since her early days as a student. The message was sent to her old diplomatic inbox. Now silent since the wedding disaster. The symbols were ancient, used by the Valari, a yen alien race known for secrecy. She read it slowly, translating in her mind. "Warning. The diplomatic chain has been breached. Watch the stars, trust no one. The heart of the court is not what it seems." Her hands trembled. She turned to Joran, who was watching her quietly. "Something's wrong," she whispered. He leaned forward. "What is it?" Alina looked into his eyes, serious and afraid. "I think something big is coming. And I think I was supposed to find this." Joran didn't blink. "Then we'll face it." She stared at him, heart pounding. He had said we, not you. For the first time, Alina realized this was more than just a fake marriage. It was the start of something real. The message stayed in Alina's mind like a shadow that wouldn't go away. The diplomatic chain has been breached. Trust no one. The heart of the court is not what it seems. She read it again and again, making sure it was real. The Valari language was old and secret. Only a few humans knew how to read it. And she was one of them. Joren listened quietly as she explained. His face didn't change, but Alina noticed how focused his eyes became. "Do you think it's a warning?" "About Earth's diplomats?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "But it came from a secure channel that no one uses anymore. Someone must have hidden it deep inside the system. And they sent it to you," Joran said. "That means they trusted you." Alina looked down. "Before the wedding, I was in the middle of translating ancient alien laws for the embassy. Maybe I got too close to something." Joran was silent for a moment. "Do you want to find out what it is?" She looked up. "Yes, I need to know." That evening, they returned to the small restroom. Joran pulled out an old datapad and connected it to the wall terminal. Alina raised an eyebrow. "That's not standard guard tech." Joran gave a faint smile. "I keep a few tools around. For emergencies." As he worked, Alina started unlocking her old files stored deep in the embassy's backup servers. She found reports she had written, language samples, and old project notes. Then she found something strange. One of the language files had been changed. "It's been edited." She sighed. Someone added a line. "Look," Joran leaned closer. The added line was in Valari script. "They wear the symbol, but not the spirit. The speaker has turned into the thief." Alina's eyes widened. "That's a Valari saying. It means someone is pretending to serve peace, but is secretly working against it." "Could be a spy," Joran said. "Or worse, someone inside the court." Alina's hands were cold now. "If that's true, Earth's connection with the Council of Planets could break. War could start again." Joran looked serious. "Then We stop it before it spreads. She stared at him. Why do you say we every time? Because you're not alone, he said simply. The next morning, Alina visited the lower sector's small library. It wasn't much, just a quiet place with old books and data storage. She began searching for more references to Valari warnings, old court symbols, and ancient betrayals. Meanwhile, Joran met with a few people around the sector, dock workers, cargo pilots, and even a quiet android technician. He asked careful questions, not revealing too much, but learning everything he could. By evening, they met again. I found something strange, Joran said. 3 shipments from the embassy arrived last week. No record of what was inside. No security tags. Just marked as diplomatic cargo. Alina frowned. That's not normal. Diplomatic cargo should always be tracked. She opened her datapad and started tracing the shipping routes. Look, those crates came from the outer rim. That's where the Valari used to live before they disappeared. Joran leaned forward. What if someone found Valari tech and is using it in secret? Alina's heart raced. That would explain the warning and the edits in my files. Joran stood up. Then we find those crates, but they're in the upper levels, she said. I'm not allowed back there. Not after what happened. I am, Joran said quietly. Alina looked at him, surprised. You're just a cargo sector guard. Joran gave a small, unreadable smile. Not exactly. Before she could ask more, he picked up his tools. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we start digging deeper. As Alina watched him walk out into the night, she felt a strange mix of fear and trust. Something big was hidden in the stars, and somehow, this quiet man beside her knew more than he let on. The next day, Joran returned earlier than usual. His uniform was the same, but his eyes were different, sharper, more alert. Alina noticed right away. You found something, didn't you? Joran nodded. The diplomatic crates were moved to a private storage bay in Sector 7. That area's locked, but I have access codes. I used to work in security management before all this. Alina raised an eyebrow. Before you became a guard? He didn't answer, but his silence said more than words. She didn't push further. Instead, they prepared. Late that evening, when most workers had left and the lights were dim, Joran led Alina through the quieter tunnels of the city. They passed through service doors, maintenance lifts, and hidden walkways few people ever used. It felt like moving through the bones of a sleeping beast. Finally, they reached Storage Bay 7K, a large, cold room filled with metal crates stacked to the ceiling. Joran scanned the entry panel. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the air was cold and still. The lights flickered slightly, as if something inside interfered with the power. There, Joran pointed to 3 crates marked with the Earth Embassy symbol, but something was off. The symbol had been scratched slightly, almost like someone tried to hide it. Alina stepped forward and opened the first crate carefully, her breath caught. Inside was a strange device, black and smooth, shaped like a spiral. It had glowing lines across its surface, pulsing slowly, like it was alive. This is Valari tech, she whispered. But this isn't in any of the records I've seen. Joran looked closely. What does it do? I don't know, Alina said. But it feels wrong. They checked the second crate. More devices. The third one held what looked like a control panel, also glowing with alien symbols. Suddenly, Joran's come link buzzed. He tapped it quickly. Someone's coming, he said. We need to go, now. They closed the crates and exited silently, locking the door behind them. Back in the restroom, Alina couldn't sit still. Why would the embassy hide these? Why bring secret alien tech from a dead species? Joran leaned back. Because someone plans to use it, quietly, without the council knowing, Alina paced. But if the tech is dangerous or unstable, it could put all of Skyreach at risk. Joran looked at her seriously. Or the entire galaxy? Alina sat down, thinking hard. Then she remembered something. There was an old Valari story, she said, about a device that could control minds. Not like simple machines, but deep. Thoughts, emotions, beliefs. They called it the Whisper Engine. Joran frowned. You think that's what we saw? I don't know. But it's close. If someone brought the Whisper Engine to Skyreach, they could use it to control diplomats, or twist peace talks, or even push humanity into war. Joran stood. Then we need to stop them. But how? Alina asked. The court doesn't trust me anymore, and we don't even know who's behind this. Joran walked to the corner of the room. He pulled out a case she had never seen before. It was locked with a fingerprint scan. When it opened, Alina's eyes widened. Inside was a high-level identity badge, military-grade data tools, and a small Earth command pin. You're not just a guard, she said quietly. No, he replied. I'm Joran Kale, former intelligence analyst for Earth Command. I walked away years ago, changed my name. Tried to live a simple life. Alina stared at him. Why tell me now? Because I trust you, Joran said. And because I think the person behind all this is in the heart of the court. We're not just dealing with lost alien tech. We're dealing with someone who wants to rewrite the future. Alina felt her chest tighten. The fake marriage, the quiet life, the peaceful days, they were over now. The galaxy was shifting, and somehow she and Joran were right in the middle of it. The next morning, Skyreach Prime looked calm from the outside, but Alina and Joran both knew the peace was false. Inside their small room, Joran finished loading a secure datapad with everything they had discovered. Photos of the crates, copies of the alien symbols, shipping logs, and notes about the edited files in Alina's old embassy records. We need to share this, Alina said. But we have to be smart. If the wrong people see it first, they'll erase the truth. Joran nodded. There's someone I trust, an old contact. He works deep inside the Galactic Council's data tower. If we reach him, we can spread this information to neutral planets. Alina hesitated. That tower is in the upper level. I can't go back there. They'll arrest me. Joran turned and handed her a thin silver badge. With this you can. She took it carefully. It held the symbol of Earth Command Intelligence. Her hands trembled. Are you sure this will work? Yes, Joran said. Because now you're not just Alina Veris, former diplomat's bride. You're my legal partner. And as of last night, I activated my old clearance. Alina stared at him. You didn't want that life anymore. Why go back? He looked at her, eyes calm. Because some things are bigger than peace and quiet. They dressed in simple clothes and took a quiet lift to the upper level. Joran wore a dark jacket with no name, but the guard at the gate saw his badge and stepped aside without a word. The city looked different up here, bright, beautiful, full of perfect roads and polished walls. But to Alina, it felt fake now. She saw masks everywhere. They entered the data tower, passing through 3 checkpoints. Finally, they reached a quiet office with frosted glass walls. Inside was a middle-aged man with white hair and careful eyes. Joran Kale, the man said. Standing up. You're not easy to find. Didn't want to be, Joran replied. The man looked at Alina. And this is? My wife, Joran said simply. Alina Veris. She's the reason I came back. Alina stepped forward. We found something. And we need to show it to the council. Before it's too late. The man closed the door and locked it. Over the next hour, they showed him everything. The alien devices, the old Valari language, the hidden message, the whisper engine theory. The man listened carefully. Then he leaned back. You understand what you're saying, don't you? He asked. If this is true, someone inside the embassy is using ancient mind control tech. That's not just illegal, it's a declaration of war. Alina nodded. That's why we came. He stood and walked to a control panel. I'll start sending this to trusted channels across neutral systems. But be careful. Once this goes live, the people behind it will know who exposed them. Joran placed a hand on her shoulder. We're ready. They left the tower quietly. But as they stepped into the elevator, Alina noticed something, a black drone floating just outside, watching them. She whispered, "We're being followed." Joran pulled her closer. "Stay calm." The elevator stopped 2 floors early. The doors opened, and standing there was Dallin Voss, her ex-fiancé, dressed in diplomatic robes. He smiled, but his eyes were cold. "Alina, you've been busy." She froze. "Dallin? What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same," he said, stepping inside. "You never understood what real power looks like. Now you've stumbled into something far above your level." Joran stepped in front of her. "She's not alone." Dallin raised an eyebrow. "You? A dock guard?" Joran smiled softly. "Guess you didn't check his name." Dallin's eyes widened. "Kale ... You're one of the hidden shareholders." Alina felt the truth hit her all at once. Joran wasn't just an ex-agent. He was one of the secret backers of the Earth Council Alliance, a silent billionaire who had chosen to live quietly. Before Dallin could speak again, security drones flew in. The man from the data tower had called them. "You should run," Joran said to Dallin. Dallin's eyes narrowed, but he stepped back and disappeared into the crowd. Alina looked at Joran, stunned. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" He looked at her gently. "Because I wanted someone who loved me without the name." And in that moment, Alina realized she hadn't married a guard by accident. She had married the one man who could help her save the galaxy. Alina and Joran didn't go home that night. After the run-in with Dallin, they knew they were being watched. Instead, they stayed in a secure hideout deep inside the city, a quiet place Joran once used during secret missions. It was small and hidden with blackout walls and no digital signals. Alina sat on a chair, her hands wrapped around a hot drink. Her mind was racing. "He's part of it," she said. "Dallin isn't just involved, he's helping control the whisper tech." Joran nodded. He always wanted more power. The tech gives him control without using weapons. "But why would he leave me before the wedding?" Alina asked. Joran looked at her gently. "Because he knew you were smart. He didn't want you too close. You would have noticed something." Alina felt a strange mix of anger and sadness. She had loved Dallin once. She had trusted him. But now she realized he had never been honest with her. Just then, a beep came from Joran's wristband. He tapped. A small blue light appeared on the wall, showing the face of the white-haired man from the Council's data tower. "I've sent your evidence to neutral systems," the man said. "Several planets are asking questions now, but the embassy is denying everything. They're calling it false data," from a bitter ex-official. Alina shook her head. "So they're using my past against me?" Joran asked. "Any support from other races?" "Yes," the man replied. "The Valari may respond soon. And the Ilari ambassador wants to meet Alina personally. They've read her work before. They trust her." Alina straightened. "Then we go public. We show the people the truth, not just the diplomats." "That's risky," Joran warned. "Once your face is out there again, they'll try to stop you." "Let them try," she said. "I'm not hiding anymore." The next day, Joran and Alina sent a broadcast across civilian channels. It showed the Valari devices, the message she had decoded, the illegal crates, and the clear signs of mind control technology being hidden by the embassy. Alina spoke in the video with calm, clear words. "I was once part of the diplomatic court. I believed in peace. But peace must be real, not forced through silence and fear. Humanity deserves better. So do our allies." The video spread quickly. Across the galaxy, people watched. Some cheered her bravery. Others doubted her story. But the silence was broken. Soon, messages began pouring in. Scientists, old translators, and even a few alien historians reached out. They had seen signs of the same tech before. They confirmed her findings. With this new support, Alina and Joran began building a small team. Some were old friends from Joran's past. Others were strangers who believed in the cause. They called themselves the Free Signal Network. One of them was a young alien girl named Visha, who had lost her brother in a secret embassy experiment. She joined as their tech expert, helping to trace hidden communications. Another was Torin, a former council advisor who had been silenced when he spoke against the Whisper Tech 2 years ago. Together, they created a plan not to fight with weapons, but with truth. They would expose every hidden deal, every lie, every name connected to the illegal use of mind control devices. But their enemies were also preparing. Dallin had disappeared from public view. Behind closed doors, he was gathering support. Some feared that he would activate the Whisper engine during the next Council of Planets meeting to control entire leaders and force them to vote in his favor. Alina looked at Joran one night, worry in her eyes. If he uses that device during the council meeting, it could change everything. Joran took her hand. Then we stop him. Not tomorrow, not next year. We stop him now. She nodded. They had no army, no weapons, but they had something stronger, the truth, and a network of brave people from many worlds. The final battle was not about guns or ships, it was about voices loud, fearless, and human. The day of the Council of Planets meeting had arrived. The great chamber floated high above the surface of Skyreach, inside a crystal-like station that shimmered in the light of 3 suns. Leaders from over 50 planets were present, each one seated behind their banners. It was the most powerful room in the galaxy. But today, something was different. Inside, hidden in the main control room, a Velari device had been secretly installed. It was quiet, dark, and ready. If activated, it would send subtle waves of thought into the minds of the leaders, just enough to make them agree, to say yes when they should say no. And the man behind it all was there, smiling calmly, Dallin Voss. Wearing his finest diplomatic robe, he stood beside the Earth delegate. No one knew what he had done. No one saw the danger. To everyone around him, he was still the brilliant, charming man of peace, but not for long. At the same time, inside the cargo sector of Skyreach, Alina and Joran stood with their team in front of a holoscreen. The countdown had started. In less than 20 minutes, the council meeting would begin, and the Whisper engine would be turned on. Are we ready? Alina asked. Vesha nodded from behind the console. All systems linked. If we press this, the council's broadcast signal will switch to us for exactly 90 seconds. It's not much, Joran said, but it's enough. Alina stepped forward. She was no longer the broken bride or the forgotten linguist. She had become something more, a voice for truth. When the timer hit 0, the council's meeting began. High above, Dallin waited for the signal to activate the device. He gave a small nod to a hidden technician. But just as the signal was about to go live, the council screen flickered, and Alina's face appeared. She spoke clearly, her voice echoing through the entire chamber. This message is for every leader. Here, my name is Alina Veras. I was once part of your world. Today I come with a warning. A device has been planted in this chamber 1 that uses ancient Velari technology to influence your minds. Gasps filled the room. The proof is with my team. The names behind it are in your data files right now. I ask only this: pause the vote, stop the signal, and demand the truth. The screen went dark. Dallin's face changed, cold, angry. He turned toward the technician. Shut it down, now. But before they could move, security drones entered the control room. Behind them was Joran Kale, wearing his old Earth Command badge. I'd like to speak with the council, he said calmly. In The council chamber. Confusion turned to alarm. The Valari ambassador stood and raised his voice. If these humans speak the truth, we must act. This meeting is suspended. Chaos broke out, but within minutes, the hidden device was found. The Valari ambassador himself confirmed it was real ancient. And dangerous. And the man who had ordered it? Dallin Voss. He tried to escape, but was stopped by 2 members of his own delegation. The council guards took him into custody. His secrets were out, and his plan had failed. Later that evening, Alina and Joran stood on a balcony overlooking the stars. The wind was soft, and the lights of Skyreach sparkled below. You did it, Joran said, looking at her with quiet pride. We did it, Alina replied. Together. Across the galaxy, her speech was now being called the voice of the unseen. People from different planets had shared it, translated it, and praised it. She had reminded them that peace meant nothing if it was built on lies. She turned to Joran. I thought I lost everything the day he left me, she said. But maybe that day was just the beginning. He smiled. Funny how life works. Far above them, the stars watched silently, but for the first time in a long time, humanity had spoken with truth, and the galaxy had listened. 3 weeks had passed since the Council of Planets. Meeting was interrupted, and the truth was revealed. Alina had become more than just a name. She was now a symbol of courage. Her words were printed in news feeds across the galaxy, quoted by students, leaders, and freedom speakers. She had helped uncover one of the greatest silent threats in the known systems. But even after all that, she remained humble. Alina stood outside a quiet research station on Earth's moon, looking up at the stars. She had chosen not to return to politics, though several planetary councils had invited her. She wanted peace, not power. Behind her, Joran walked out, carrying 2 mugs of warm tea. You still thinking? He asked. Always, she smiled. Taking the cup. Ian sat beside her on the stone bench. People still want to hear from you. I've said enough for now, she replied. It's time others speak too. The galaxy isn't quiet anymore. That's good. Joran looked at her for a moment. Do you ever think about how strange all this was? He asked. A random meeting. A broken marriage. A hidden millionaire pretending to be a security guard. Alina laughed softly. The universe has a strange sense of humor. And maybe a kind heart, he added. They sat in silence for a while. Then a message pinged on Alina's wristpad. She tapped it. A hologram popped up showing Vesha, smiling brightly from a science ship. Alina. We found it, Vesha said excitedly. The original Valari signal you decoded? It wasn't just a message, it was a map. And guess what? There's a hidden archive near the Orion system. It holds data from before the Great Silence. Alina's eyes lit up. The Great Silence was a mystery in galactic history. A time when hundreds of worlds suddenly stopped sending signals. Thousands of years ago. No one knew why. If there was a real archive, it could change everything. Are you ready to join us? Vesha asked. Alina looked at Joren. He smiled. Well, I always did like a good adventure. Alina nodded. We'll meet you at Station Echo in 2 days. As the message ended, she stood up. Looks like this isn't the end after all, she said. No, Joran agreed. It's a new start. They returned inside to pack for the journey. But before she closed her old research case, Alina looked at the small crystal pendant she had once received on her wedding day, a gift from Dallin. She placed it inside a drawer and shut it gently. Some memories were lessons, not treasures. That night, the stars above Earth seemed brighter. Across the galaxy, the Council had launched new checks to prevent misuse of technology. Laws were passed to ensure transparency in interplanetary deals. A team was formed led by both humans and aliens to continue monitoring and uncovering hidden tech systems. Alina's group, the Free Signal Network, remained active. But they weren't just whistleblowers anymore. They became builders of knowledge, trust, and connection between species. And somewhere deep in space, a ship flew quietly past the edge of known territory. Inside it were Alina, Joran, Vesha, and others. Each with a purpose, each carrying a piece of humanity with them, its voice, its curiosity, its courage. The message Alina had once spoken now echoed through minds and hearts everywhere. Peace is not silence. Peace is understanding, and truth will always be our strongest signal. As they approached the distant Orion system, Alina smiled softly. The stars held more secrets, and she was ready to listen.